The first part of the AAO activity is to annotate a writing prompt page. This is the basic look of any writing prompt page you will receive until you graduate from high school. So, the first place to start, you see the bold words read, think, and write. We need to number those so you know that number one, being the most important, is right. You have to write on the topic or your essay won't be graded and will probably just get a 0 because it's off topic. If the teacher's gracious, like Miss Siemens, you'll end up with a 50, and I'll tell you to write on topic. But that's because you're in 7th grade. By the time you get to 9th grade, you got to be on topic. All right, so number one is the most important. It's the right statement gives you your absolute direction for composing the essay. The right statement may also be referred to as the prompt or the charge. So I wanted to stick that under there so you can remember that part, because you need to know what you're talking about when you're talking about it. From the right statement, you derive the thesis statement. Because this is the most important, it gets the biggest arrow. Your thesis statement tells the reader in one sentence everything that the paper is supposed to be about. It's the most important information. The thesis statement is also, as you all know, called the controlling idea. So you circle the word controlling idea, and then you want to take your arrow and make sure you're pointing from the arrow to your thesis statement information. And I also gave you a little math sentence so you can remember for sure that CI, which means controlling idea, equals TS, which means thesis statement. Now that you know the most important sentence in the introductory paragraph, let's go to the first sentence. Your first sentence has to be a hook. If you don't grab your reader's attention, they're might not going to read the rest of your paper. Okay, if it's your teacher, she has to read it or he has to read it. But if it's interesting, it makes us want to read it even more. I say a part or all of the quote because if you only want to use, and this is a relatively short quotation, but if you only want to even only have a part of this, that's all right. In fact, there are 2 sentences in this quotation, and I would probably use the first sentence as my hook, and then then somewhere in my body paragraphs, I would pull the rest of the quote in, figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. And I would have said, Michael Jordan said, you got to figure out how to climb it, go through it, work around it. He's talking about any challenge that sets before you. Okay, so that is set before you or steps before you. Sorry for the blend. Okay, the last part of what you need is your transition. The transition can come out of the think statement. It doesn't have to, but it can. The only absolute here would be your writing prompt. You have to write from the writing prompt. Do you have to pull your hook from the quotation? No, but it's right there. Might as well use it, because the only other things you have when you're writing an essay are blank pages. Why not use all the information you've got on the page you're working? So you write hook, you write 1, 2, 3, you write hook, you write thesis statement, you write CI equals TS, make sure you circle your controlling ideas so you don't forget things. Additionally, you should underline the most important part of the writing of the writing prompt, because that's where your thesis statement will originate, and because you're not going to use these first 4 or 5 words in your thesis statement, but you'll definitely use these words. Now, your transition. This one can be part of, it can bridge your hook to your thesis statement. If, however, you wanted to bridge it a different way, you could. You don't have to use the information they put under think, but once again, why not? Because you have it. Okay,